Hello and welcome to Pobsa's Dharma Lounge, a place and a time to sit back, relax, and investigate all things Dharma. And this time, maybe, enjoy a strawberry or two. Hi, Pobsa Frank Jude here. And before talking about strawberries, I'd like to offer deepest appreciation and gratitude to the following people who have offered dana since the last episode. Andre Talbot, Gabion Sally Weber, Hyokan Tatiana Staloff, and Jishin Carolyn Hill. Thank you very much for your support. And other ways to support this show are to subscribe, review where possible, comment, hit like, share it with friends and family. And of course, any dana is gratefully appreciated. So thank you very much. Okay, so this episode, I want to talk about a story that I first heard many years ago. It's a popular story shared by both the Buddhist and the Hindu yoga traditions. And it's said to describe the human existential situation. Right? So it goes something like this. There's someone running from tigers. Right? Tigers are chasing them. The tigers are gaining on them. And suddenly they come to a cliff. When they look down, they see just a few feet below the surface of the cliff a vine growing out from the side of the cliff. So they climb over the edge and they grab onto the vine. Right? The tigers are now just above their head, pawing at the ground, sniffing the air. And then they look down and they notice that there are other tigers circling around at the base of the cliff. And to make things worse, then they notice that there's a mouse gnawing away at the vine, but just out of reach. Right after that, they notice a few ripe red strawberries growing from a nearby clump of vegetation just within their reach. So there they are, hanging on this vine, right? They look up, they see the tigers above. They look down, they see the tigers below. They look at the mouse gnawing away at their lifeline. And so they reach out, they pluck the largest of the strawberries, they take a bite and chew it. It's delicious. They enjoy it thoroughly. Now, the first time I heard this story, it was told to us by a famous Swami at a yoga ashram where I was studying yoga back in the mid-1970s. And Swamiji made the metaphor even more obvious by having two mice, one white and one black, gnawing away. So yeah, day and night, time passing, literally eating away at our lifeline. At the ashram, I was told that the moral of this story is that this is the human predicament, and that most of us foolishly ignore the reality of life and death, and we distract ourselves with the temporary satisfactions and delights of strawberries. Swamiji said that this was to be taken as a cautionary tale about how, rather than distracting ourselves with indulging in the sensual pleasures of life, we yoga students should dedicate all our energies to getting out of this predicament. After all, central to most yoga philosophies, moksha, or liberation, is understood as the ceasing of reincarnation, the constant wandering forth from life through death to life again and again and again. Now, early Buddhism, as well as, and today even, many traditionalists still believe that the point of practice is to end the cycle of rebirth, literally to transcend life from this world completely, once and for all. And it's because of this orientation that early Buddhism can be said to offer a kind of world-renouncing, world-weary path. It's also the reason for why so many have criticized Buddhism over the years, and as well, they've criticized classical yoga as being pessimistic and life-denying. Now, I want to be clear and honor the fact, as Georg Feuerstein and others have pointed out, that these yogic paths do hold out the hope and the possibility of liberation into a transcendent state beyond all suffering. So these philosophies can be said to be ultimately optimistic. But still, I don't think it's inaccurate to say that they are world-denying, because the optimism rests upon the total transcendence of this world, this life. Liberation is found outside of this world. Now, things being the way they are, it so happened that within a few months of hearing this story at the ashram, I was staying at a Zen monastery where the Zen master shared this same story. But when the Zen teacher got to the point of the person reaching out for the strawberry, he mimed the action, and he reached out and he plucked an imaginary strawberry, and he popped it into his mouth, and he chewed it with obvious delight. I'm glad mine is not imaginary. This time, at the Zen monastery, I was told that the message of the story is that, given our human existential situation, with each moment of our life hanging by a thread as thin as our breath, being caught in anxiety, resentment, fear, bitterness, or anger, it merely prevents us from fully experiencing this life. Such reactivity keeps us from fully seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and delighting in just this. After all, just this might be our only remaining moment of life. This may be the only strawberry. Do we really want to miss this life because we're so anxiously focused on our mortality? Given our life situation, we can be depressed about this reality, or we could wake up to it and appreciate our life. As Maizumi Roshi put it when he wrote, and I quote, "I want you to appreciate your life too. Every moment, right now, is nothing other than us, our practice, our life, our realization, our manifestation. Refresh it each moment. Having such a practice not only benefits you and gives you joy, it also inspires others." Now, I can see how all of this plays out in my own life. When I find myself caught in anger or anxiety, and usually it's always about things going wrong in my life, right? Or centered around fears about what may happen in the future, I completely lose intimacy with the reality of this lived moment. And please, do not misunderstand me. This moment may be painful. It may really suck. Life is not all sweetness. After all, some strawberries are sour, some are unripe, and there are even some that are overripe and spoiled. But as difficult as it may be at times, when push comes to shove, I would rather taste the sourness completely in full presence than be swept away in forgetfulness. And again, this is not to say we must be Pollyannish about life and the circumstances that we must face. And to be clear, I am most definitely not saying it's all good. There's a hell of a lot of oppression and injustice in this world that we must resist and we must work to end. And practice can challenge us to do this work while engaging in each moment, fully, intimately, and with as much integrity as we can muster. And that entails savoring all of life's flavors. This is a juicy one. This coming July, on Saturdays from July 9th to July 30th, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. Arizona time, which is Mountain Standard Time, I'll be offering mindfulness of feelings. These are not emotions, but sensations that we experience that without mindfulness end up dictating how we move through our life. But with mindfulness, we can maybe move from conditioned reaction to a more skillful response. For more information about this course, go to my website, www.mindfulnessyoga.net, and look under Study for the Mindfulness of Feelings course. I hope you consider joining us. Thank you.